My husband's old tablet was still synced to his accounts. I found a private album locked with a code. When I finally opened it, I had to sit down. The last video? For when you're smart enough to look. I took my rings off, drained our joint account, and walked away without a word. I've been married to Daniel for 8 years. We live in Chicago's Lincoln Park neighborhood, known for its charming streets and vibrant community. Daniel works as a software engineer downtown, and I manage a local bookstore on Clark Street. Our life together seemed comfortable and predictable. One rainy Saturday afternoon, I was cleaning our apartment when I found Daniel's old tablet wedged between the couch cushions. It was an older model he had replaced months ago. I decided to power it on, expecting to find outdated apps and old photos. To my surprise, the tablet was still synced to his accounts. As I browsed through the device, I stumbled upon a folder labeled Private. It was locked with a passcode. My curiosity was piqued. After a moment's hesitation, I tried our anniversary date. The folder unlocked. Inside, I found a series of photos and videos. At first, they seemed harmless, pictures of Daniel at work, snapshots from office parties. But as I continued scrolling, I saw images of him with a woman I didn't recognize. They were at various locations, sharing intimate moments. The timestamps ranged from 2 years ago to just a few months back. At the end of the folder was a video titled, "For When You're Smart Enough to Look." With a deep breath, I pressed play. Daniel's face appeared on the screen. He was sitting in our living room, looking directly into the camera. "If you're watching this," he began, "I guess you finally decided to snoop. I always wondered how long it would take you." Surprise. Tears blurred my vision. The betrayal was overwhelming. I didn't confront him. I didn't leave a note. I took off my wedding rings, drained our joint account, and walked out the door without a word. In the days that followed, I stayed with my sister in Evanston, trying to process everything. Daniel tried to contact me, calls, texts, emails. Each message was more desperate than the last. He claimed he could explain that it wasn't what it seemed, but the evidence was clear. One evening, as I sat by Lake Michigan, watching the waves crash against the shore, I realized that the man I thought I knew was a stranger. The memories we built were tainted, the trust we shared irrevocably broken. Starting over wasn't easy. I found a new apartment in the West Loop, closer to the bookstore. The vibrant neighborhood offered a fresh start, away from the shadows of my past. I immersed myself in work, finding solace among the pages of novels and the comfort of regular customers. Months later, during a routine shift, a familiar face walked in. It was the woman from the photos. She browsed the shelves, oblivious to my presence. A surge of emotions overwhelmed me: anger, sadness, curiosity. Summoning courage, I approached her. "Can I help you find something?" She looked up, her eyes meeting mine. There was a flicker of recognition, then guilt. "I'm just looking. Thanks." I wanted to scream, to confront her, to demand answers. But instead, I nodded and walked away. She left shortly after, leaving behind a book on the counter, The Scarlet Letter. Life has a way of throwing curveballs. Betrayal cuts deep, but it also offers clarity. I learned to trust my instincts, to value my worth, and to never settle for less than I deserve. The scars remain, but they serve as reminders of resilience in the journey toward healing. The week after she came into the store, I couldn't stop thinking about her. The woman from the photos. Her face haunted me. I couldn't forget the way she looked at me. Like she knew. Like she felt sorry. I didn't tell anyone. Not my sister, not my coworkers. I kept it bottled up. But something shifted in me. A quiet fury began to build. Not the kind that screams or breaks things. The kind that watches. The kind that plans. That night, I went back to the tablet. I hadn't touched it since the day I walked out. I didn't even know why I still had it. But I powered it back on, and this time, I looked deeper. I searched the cloud backup, the emails, the hidden folders. I found another video. This one wasn't in the private folder. It was buried inside a hidden cache tied to an old work email. My hands shook as I played it. Daniel was in a hotel room. I recognized the carpet. It was that patterned red and brown kind you see in cheap airport hotels. He wasn't alone. She was with him. They were drinking wine, laughing. He leaned into the camera. "This is better than home," he said, slurring a little. "She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't nag. She just lets me be me." Then he turned to her and said, "She still thinks I'm working late tonight." My heart stopped. That night he said he was stuck at the office fixing a server crash. I had brought him dinner that night. He said thanks and told me to go home, that it'd be a long one. I watched the rest of the video in silence. When it ended, I sat in the dark for a long time. The next morning, I printed photos from the tablet and mailed them to his parents. I didn't include a note, just the pictures. I didn't even care what they thought of me. They had always treated me like I was second best anyway. That night, I got a call from Daniel. I didn't pick up. Then I got another. And another. 10 missed calls in an hour. Finally, I turned my phone off. But the next day at work, he showed up. Right at closing. I saw his reflection in the front glass before I even turned around. I told my coworker to lock the back and let me handle it. He looked tired. Not in the usual didn't sleep well way. He looked like someone who had lost control. Pale, anxious, jittery. "Can we talk?" he asked, voice low. "Say what you need to say," I said. I didn't offer him a chair. "It wasn't what you think," he started. The same old line. But then he paused. "No, actually it was." I was tired, bored. I made a mistake. One that kept going. I didn't say anything. He continued. But it wasn't love. Not with her. It was easy. That's all. It made me feel like I had control again. Control. That word hit like a slap. That's what it was all about for him. Control. Power. Not connection. Not love. Not regret. You recorded a video taunting me, I said quietly. You laughed at me. You knew I'd find it one day. You wanted me to. He looked down. I was angry. I thought you were pulling away. I thought I cut him off. You thought wrong. I was tired. Tired of carrying everything alone while you played the victim. He stepped closer, but I held up my hand. I want nothing from you. Not an apology. Not excuses. You don't get to rewrite what you did. He opened his mouth to speak, then stopped. I walked to the door and unlocked it. Don't come here again. Don't talk to me. Ever. He left. And I thought that would be it. But it wasn't. The next day, someone had broken into my new apartment. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was trashed. But someone had been there. My closet door was open. My toothbrush was on the floor. And on my nightstand, next to the lamp, was my wedding photo. The frame was cracked. I reported it. The police took it seriously, but there was no evidence. No fingerprints. No forced entry. My stomach twisted. Had he kept a key? Had I forgotten to change the locks? I changed the locks that day. Installed cameras. Called my sister. She offered her guest room again, but I said no. I didn't want to run. Not again. A week later, I got a message from an unknown number. You're not safe. He's not who you think he is. Attached was a photo. It showed Daniel and another woman. Not the one from the videos. A new one. This time, they were outside a courthouse. He was holding papers. She looked nervous. He looked smug. I stared at it, confused. The timestamp was from 2 weeks before I found the tablet. I messaged the number back. Who are you? No reply. I didn't sleep that night. Something darker was happening. Something I didn't see before. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was layered, calculated, and I was only beginning to scratch the surface. I didn't hear back from the unknown number, but the message kept replaying in my mind. You're not safe. He's not who you think he is. It wasn't just about the cheating anymore. It wasn't about hurt feelings or broken vows. Something else was under the surface. Something heavier. I went back to the photo, the one of Daniel outside the courthouse with that new woman. I zoomed in. The building was Cook County Circuit Court. I recognized the stone columns. The woman next to him looked young. Early 20s, maybe. Pale, skinny, dark circles under her eyes. She looked scared. Why was Daniel there with her? And why did it look like she didn't want to be? The next day, I went to the courthouse. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, just that I had to look. I went to the records clerk and asked if there had been any recent filings under Daniel's name. I had to show ID and fill out some paperwork, but eventually, they handed me a file. My hands went numb. 2 weeks before I found the tablet, Daniel had filed for a legal guardianship over a woman named Brianna Keller. The name didn't mean anything to me, but as I read through the paperwork, it started to make sense, and then it didn't. She was a recovering addict, had no stable family. He listed himself as a family friend, helping her get back on her feet. There was a vague claim of mental wellness supervision. The whole thing felt off. There was no way Daniel had just volunteered to help this girl. And if he did, why didn't he ever mention her? I took a photo of the paperwork and left. I called a lawyer friend that night, Janice, who worked on adult protective cases. She listened quietly, then said, "This sounds suspicious as hell. If you're right, and he's using the guardianship for something shady, that's serious. But it's hard to prove, unless she comes forward." So I searched. I started looking through social media, old articles, rehab support forums. It took me 4 nights, but I finally found a profile that matched Brianna's photo. She hadn't posted in over a year, but one of her older pictures had a location tag, a halfway house in Bridgeport. I drove there the next day. It was a plain building. White brick, a small sign out front that just said Hope Place. I asked the front desk if Brianna Keller still lived there. The woman behind the desk frowned and said, "She moved out about 3 months ago, with her guardian." My chest tightened. Did she seem okay when she left? I asked. The woman hesitated. She was quiet. Nervous. Said she was going to be working for him, helping with tech stuff or something. Said he used to be her teacher. Teacher? Daniel had never taught anyone in his life. I thanked her and walked out into the parking lot. That's when I saw it. Across the street, a black car. Parked. Not running. Just watching. My skin crawled. I didn't go home. I drove straight to my sister's place. That night, I slept with a chair wedged under the door handle. Over the next week, things got weirder. My phone glitched. Random calls would disconnect before I answered. Apps opened by themselves. One day, I found an email draft saved in my account, an unsent message to Daniel. I hadn't written it. I stopped using the tablet. I shut it down and put it in a box under my bed. I got a new phone, but the paranoia stayed. Then one morning at the bookstore, my manager pulled me aside. "Hey," she said cautiously. "Did you give your friend permission to use your employee login?" "What friend?" I asked. She showed me a log. Someone had used my ID to access the store's security footage. They logged in from a location miles away. The timestamp was midnight. That night, I checked the footage myself. It wasn't just regular browsing. They had watched specific clips, all of them from the week Daniel visited. They had watched the footage of us talking, over and over. I called Janice again. She told me, you need to consider the possibility that this is bigger than an affair. He might be trying to erase something, or hide it. I thought about that girl Brianna, her tired eyes, her silence, the court papers. My gut said she wasn't there by choice. And that unknown message, you're not safe. Was it from her? Or someone else entirely? I decided to go back through Daniel's online accounts. Not just the sync tablet, but everything I had passwords for. We used to share them. Netflix, Amazon, even Dropbox. I logged into his old Dropbox account, thinking maybe I missed something. I found another folder. It wasn't called private this time. It was called backups. Inside, I found files labeled agreement_a.pdf, schedulelog_Rihanna.xlsx, and vid_record4.mp4. I opened the PDF first. It looked like a contract. A contract between Daniel and Brianna. She agreed to live in his home, work part-time, stay off drugs, check in daily, obey curfews. But the language was strange. There were things about discipline plans, restricted phone access, and emotional reset protocols. It didn't sound like help. It sounded like control. I opened the Excel sheet. It was a schedule. Every hour of her day was mapped out. Wake up, medication, silence time, reading time, no social media, no calls. I clicked the video. It was security cam footage. Low quality, but clear enough. Brianna, sitting on the edge of a couch, arms crossed. Daniel standing in front of her, pacing. He was yelling. Not loud, but harsh. Controlled. She flinched every time he moved closer. You made a promise, he said. She said nothing. If you want to live here, you follow the rules. She nodded quickly, looking down. Then the video cut. I sat there, frozen. It wasn't just infidelity. It wasn't just betrayal. Daniel was controlling this woman. He'd filed legal papers to do it. And I had no idea how deep it went. I saved the files. Every one. I wasn't sure what I was going to do next, but I knew this wasn't over. And I was officially afraid of the man I used to love. I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I didn't go to a lawyer either. Not right away. I needed more proof, more understanding, more answers. I needed Brianna to talk, if she was willing. So I reached out the only way I could think of. I created a brand new email and sent a message to the unknown number that had texted me weeks before. I believe you. I saw everything. I want to help her. If this is Brianna, please meet me. You choose the place. Just make it public. 2 days later, I got a reply. Jackson Park, 2 p.m. Don't come alone. And don't tell him. I went. I brought Janice with me. We sat on a bench near the playground, trying to act normal, like two friends catching up. I didn't know who I was looking for until I saw her. Brianna. She was thinner now, even more pale, wearing oversized clothes that looked like they were meant to hide her shape. Her eyes darted around, constantly scanning. She sat down a few feet from us. You said you saw everything, she said softly. I did, I said. The schedule. The contract. The video. She nodded slowly. I thought it would help at first. He said he was saving me, that I owed him a second chance. What do you mean? I asked. She glanced at Janice, then back at me. Daniel used to be my mentor in a coding program. I was 17. He said I was special. After I aged out of foster care, I didn't have anywhere to go. He offered me a place. Said I'd be safe. She paused. Her voice cracked. He wasn't safe. Janice leaned in gently. Did he hurt you, Brianna? She didn't answer. But the silence said enough. I can help you, I said. But we have to do this the right way. If we expose him, he'll lose everything. I don't want revenge, Brianna said. I just want out. We built the case for 2 weeks. Janice helped. Brianna stayed in a safe place run by a friend of Janice's. We gathered documents, pulled data from the cloud, even obtained security footage from his building. I was ready. And then the opportunity came, his company's annual tech conference. It was held in a large event space in the West Loop. Daniel was set to give a keynote. I knew he would be there. Everyone would. I walked in, dressed sharply, calm on the outside, heart pounding inside. I didn't go alone. Janice, Brianna, and 2 investigators from a legal aid group were with me, waiting in the wings. Daniel spotted me from the crowd as he stepped up to the stage. His face twitched, just for a second. Then he smiled, like he could charm his way out of anything. He started his speech, something about innovation and trust in technology. And that's when the screen behind him glitched. And then it played. The video. The same one I found. Brianna sitting on the couch. Daniel yelling. Controlling her. The audio echoed through the hall. The audience froze. Then murmurs. Whispers turned to gasps. A few people stood up. Someone yelled, "What the hell is this?" Daniel turned pale. "Turn it off," he snapped at the AV techs. But it was too late. Brianna stepped onto the stage, her voice shaking. This man used a court system meant to protect people to control me. I trusted him. He manipulated me. And I know I'm not the only one. Security came. Then police. The investigators had already filed a report. The evidence had been sent to the authorities ahead of time. All that was left was to show it. Daniel tried to speak. This is insane. She's unstable. She's lying. But no one believed him anymore. He was escorted out in handcuffs. I didn't cry. I didn't even feel joy. Just stillness. The aftermath was messy. His company let out a PR nightmare statement. Friends split. Some supported him. Some ghosted me entirely. His parents? Silent. Brianna moved into a women's support housing unit with a tech job Janice helped her get. She still doesn't like being in crowds. But she's building herself back up, one small step at a time. As for me, I stayed in Chicago. I kept the apartment, repainted it, got a new couch. I left the bookstore. It reminded me too much of everything. I started volunteering at a nonprofit for at-risk girls. It felt right. Like I was putting something back into the world. Daniel's trial dragged out for months. He took a plea deal eventually. Lesser charges. Probation. Mandatory therapy. But his reputation? Gone. Career? Destroyed. His accounts were frozen. He tried to contact me once. I blocked him. I still get angry sometimes. Still replay the lies. The way he looked me in the eyes while building another life in the shadows. But I also feel something else. Clarity. I'm not the woman who found a tablet and broke down. I'm the woman who saw the truth and acted. I'm not healed yet. Maybe I never will be. But I'm not broken either. Daniel lost control of everyone he thought he owned. Brianna got her voice back. I found my strength. The past still lingers, but it no longer defines me. I don't know what comes next. But for the first time in years, I'm not scared of it.